A very good evening to all of you. Preparation does not assure the victory, but it always assures your confidence. Remembering that reflective quote, today we are going to start the preparation of a long journey. As Economic Research Unit of Center of Economic Studies, University of Sri Jayewardenepura, we are conducting a workshop series. The first one is about research proposal writing. The second one will be about data collection methods, and the third workshop will be on statistical softwares. So today we are here with our very first session of the workshop series, Esploro Phase 1. So today's session will be much more important for those undergraduates who are willing to start their research work, because we are about to start such an insightful session on the topic of research proposal writing. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome all the undergraduates, not only from our university, but also from the other universities for this workshop series. Now, let me introduce our keynote speaker of today's session. He's a professor in Department of Economics in Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences of University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and he has an in-depth knowledge in researching. Please welcome with your warm hearts, Professor D.P.Chandrakumara. A very good evening, sir. We are blessed to have you here, especially in our very first session. And now, floor is open for you to build up research foundation for these young undergraduates.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you. This is about writing a research proposal. All of you will be very important. This will be important to the students at undergraduate level, and beyond that also up to masters and PhD level also. For everyone, this will be very important. Anyway, I will explain very briefly the things you need to know with regard to your questions. Is it good? Right. So if you ask questions one by one, I know some questions you have got from the students already. So based on that, I have prepared some illustrations also. So it will be easy to understand. So what are the questions you have got from them?
Okay, sir. So let's go by one. So as we mentioned earlier, today we are going to talk about research proposal writing. So when we are doing a research, the very first question that comes to our mind is the area. So my first question is how one can select his or her area to research in. And another critical question that every undergraduate facing is choosing a good research topic. So, sir, could you please give us a brief introduction about choosing a research area and also a good research topic, as well as about the key characteristics of a good research topic?
Okay, that is the most important thing, because if you can't select a good testable research researchable topic, so you can't go beyond that level. So it is very important to select a topic. Selecting a research field, you said before that, no? A research field means there are very broad fields also. Economics is also a field of study in social sciences, one field. And there are some narrow fields, right? Poverty is one specific field. Under that also there are some fields, very specific fields you can find. First of all, you should know it should be a area of research that you are interested, right? Otherwise, you can't go beyond that. That should be an area of research that you are interested in, right? So that is the first thing. It will be an area interested to you, right? The second thing, first, after selecting the area of research, you have to select one topic, right? Topic. That is the second step. That means topic is the narrow field, narrow area of your research, right? Third step is to narrow down it. First, you select the research area. Then you will select the a specific topic, research topic. Third step is to narrowing down it, I mean the topic, in a way that you can manage it, right? These are the three main steps I can share an illustration to you about that. How to select a research area, right? Can you see it?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Right. How to select the research area. These are the three main steps you need to know. Choose a study field that you are interested, right? Secondly, reduce it to a topic or specific area or field, right?
So your screen is not visible, sir. I mean, the slides we can't see.
What is that? What's the problem? Now?
Not yet, sir.
Wait. Can you see it now? Not yet.
No, sir. Not yet, sir.
Okay, wait. Now?
Yes, sir. Now we can see.
Right. First step is to choose a study field that you are interested, then reduce it to a topic, then narrow down it in a way that you can manage it. That area should be manageable, very specific area that should be very clear to you. However, it is important if your topic is directly if your topic is directly related to your research degree program, your topic should be related to your study program. Suppose your special field is monetary economics or marketing, then that topic should be related to that area. A significant issue in the country, that should be one of the significant issues in the country or in the world. So if you choose such a topic, you will have a big demand after completing the research, right? But then it should be a mix of more than one crucial issue in your topic. I mean, suppose in the world currently there are very important research topics. For example, population aging, right? Food security, then debt crisis. In the world, for these topics, there's a big demand. Another thing is gender issues. If you write a research paper in gender issues, your citations will be very high. Day by day, some others will cite your document. So these are the things you should know when you select the area of research, right? Okay. If there's any question, you can ask me. This is one of the examples. For example, gender gaps in human security of the aging population. This is one topic that you can select for your research study. Here, there are three main issues, very crucial issues have been incorporated in this topic. One is gender gaps, right? The second one is human security. Third one is aging population. You are doing this research, but you have incorporated three main issues in the same research. So you will have a big demand after completing this research from the world. When you include it in the CV, in your CV, they will recognize your research is very applicable, very much applicable to three main areas. Then the people from this area, gender gaps, gender economics, and also human security, and also related to aging, population aging. From these three fields, you will have a big demand, right? I think that is enough for that question. No?
Yes, sir. We'll move on to our next question.
Okay.
So my second question is, when we are choosing a research area and a research topic, we must find out the research articles which have been done by previous scholars. So what
Yes.
are the sources that we can get these research articles? Also, so the problem that most of us facing is that most of these research articles are not freely available. But
Yes.
as far as I know, there's a method that we can get access to these articles freely. Could you please explain about that as well?
Okay, I will explain it with some illustrations also that will be important for you. Research articles, finding research articles. Can you see this slide again? Where can
Yes,
you
yes.
find? You can see,
Yes, we can see.
right? Uh, Actually, journal articles are the best, right? There are recognized journals in the world in different countries from the universities also, and some by some research institutions, they publish research journals, right? These are available in Google in some databases. Anyway, I will tell you the easiest way to find research articles. That is from the Google Scholar, right? Everyone can do it. Go to Google Scholar. You can write it in the search engine of Google, and you will get this Google Scholar. So go to that, and you will see this menu anytime. I mean, then the research articles published in any year. If you want to limit the articles, you can limit the articles also. When you search it, since 2022 or 2021, like that, you can mention there. Then you will get only the articles related to your search, right? After that point of time, right? Like that, from the Google Scholar, you can take research articles. The second way, download from online research databases. You may know there are online research databases. For instance, Scopus, Science Direct, Jester, Emerald, like that. You can get it from our library also. You can search, if you search, go to our library and search from there. They have some databases freely available for you. So all the articles published in the databases can be downloaded, right? So within 1 or 2 hours, you can download all the articles that you can that you need for your research, and then select the articles. Then you can first read the abstract of each article, and then you can find whether the articles are relevant. Don't read the full article. First, you read the abstract, right? So that you can find whether it is relevant for you. Within few minutes, you can find it. So these are the databases. You can, if you search from the library, Sri Jayewardenepura library, and in other universities also, the same thing is available. You can get the articles from those journals. Another thing, this is also possible. Search in Sci-Hub. You know Sci-Hub? I don't know. Sometimes many of you may know it, right? Sci-Hub. In your Google search, write it in the search space, Sci-Hub. Then you will get it, Sci-Hub. Then click on Sci-Hub. Then you will get a space. You can write the DOI number on that space and click. Then you will get the full article. Otherwise, you will have to pay for the article, right? But if you can go via this Sci-Hub, you can download the articles without any cost, right? So that is another one important way that you can download articles. There are some many other ways. In the library, there are some hard copies also, but these days very difficult to read hard copies. Better thing is to get it downloaded. And I must mention here, in the world, there are different kind of journals, right? These journals have been categorized as A star is the best, A star, capital A star is the best. Then A, capital A, grade A, then B, then C. A star, A, B, C. This is the order, right? A star is the best. In the Asian countries, there are only few A star journals. In Sri Lanka, there's no any A-star journal available in any field of study, right? But there are A-grade journals, only few in Sri Lanka. In Asia, there are considerable number of journals in the Asia, in Japan, Australia, in some other countries, Singapore, and in some other countries also. So these are the sources that you can get research articles. And there's one thing I must say, you should know the difference between papers and articles. Sometimes some people mention papers, research paper, and some others mention research articles. Do you know what is the difference? Papers, we call them papers, research papers, until we publish it. After publication, after publishing the papers, it becomes articles, right? They are papers only until published, right? After publishing, there's no paper, it becomes an article, right? Any questions related to this part about the research articles?
Seems there are no questions, sir. So, shall we move on to our next question?
Okay, okay.
Okay, sir. So, the next question is about the research gap. When making a research proposal, everyone is curious about research gap. So what is
Yes.
exactly this research gap and how can we identify it?
Yes, research gap. Suppose first you will find an area of your interest, then you find one topic. You will decide one topic related to your, suppose related to your day-to-day life. You will see things happening in the real world. So from the real issues, you will select one research problem, right? Research problem is the most important thing in research. Then even if you find a research topic, you can't directly do the research, jump into the research, because research should be a new one, right? If someone has done it previously, by some other researchers, there's no point of doing that. Therefore, you should go to the literature review. What is literature review? Literature review is the all related articles and everything related to your research done by previous researchers, right? Before you, some other researchers have done research related to your topic, but it may not be the exact one that you are going to do. So that is why you have to do a literature review. You should know whether your research topic or the research problem has been done by another researcher in their previous research. Suppose related to your topic, you will find there are some areas that they haven't touched so far. So that is the research gap. I will explain it later when I explain your next problems or questions also. So that is the research gap. Research gap is the area that has been not touched by previous researchers, right? The area that has been not touched by previous researchers, that is the gap. So you can start from the gap. You can't fill the entire gap, right? For that, many other researchers should have to contribute, right? But you can, your problem will be located in the research gap. So that is why you need to know what is the research gap related to your topic. Okay.
Okay, sir. So, according to you, what is the research proposal? Is it compulsory or can we directly go to the research? And what is the purpose of writing a research proposal? Or, like, why do we need to prepare it?
Yes, I will explain it with some illustrations. Also, a research proposal. It is the research plan. Can you see the new
Uh,
one?
Still, we
Can't.
can't see the slides, sir.
Okay, wait. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir. Now we can see.
Okay, okay. What is a research proposal? It is the plan of your research, right? If you are doing something, you have to plan it beforehand, then you can do it methodically. Otherwise, you will be going here and there and without any aim. So if you have a plan, you can very methodically continue the research within a limited time period, right? So research, in short, research proposal is the plan of your research, right? It is the plan of your research. Otherwise, the design of your research. And if you have some more questions, this is the research proposal, structure of a research proposal. First, you will see the, you will have to put a title for the research, then abstract, you will see in a research proposal. The second thing you will see is the abstract, then introduction, literature review, problem statement, aim and objectives, hypothesis, methodology, limitations and delimitations, organization for the structure of your proposal, structure of your proposal. Then time frame. After that, you will give a list of references that you have used for your research proposal, right? After that, if there are some more things that you have to attach to the proposal, then you can attach it as appendices, otherwise appendixes, right? This is the structure of your research proposal, but this this is the these are the working steps. That is not the way that you can start from the structure. In the structure, you will see the title of your study at first, but when you write the study, when you write the research proposal, your first thing is to choose a topic of your interest, research topic, that is from your day-to-day life. For example, when you are traveling in the bus from Galle to Colombo, right? You will observe the quality of your bus traveling from Galle to Colombo. Then you can classify the quality of the driver, quality of the conductor, quality of the equipment. I mean, the bus, quality of seats that you are sitting on, like that qualities, and the quality of the road quality. And you will come to 𝙀𝙨𝙥𝙡𝙤𝙤 then, from Galle to 𝙀𝙨𝙥𝙤 in the highway bus. Then from there you will go to 𝙒𝙀𝙧𝙠𝙗 from 𝙀𝙀𝙥 in a normal bus, right? You will get into a normal bus. Then you will see the difference between the highway express buses and the normal buses. So that is one area of interest that you find for your research. From that field, you can select one research problem, right? For example, demand for quality of bus service. Demand for quality of bus service. That is the, for example, that can be a research problem. Is there a demand for quality of bus service? That is a research problem related to marketing, right? So that way, you can first thing is to choose a topic of your interest, right? Then write a tentative problem at the beginning, tentative, not the permanent problem that you are going to research, right? First, tentative means temporary problem, right? Temporary one. That may be from, I mean, social issues or theoretical issues. Now, my example was one of the social issues, traveling in buses, right? Then, third step is to review the literature. First, you choose a topic of your interest, right? Then write a tentative problem related to that area. Tentative problem means temporary problem. Then review the literature related to your tentative problem. Fourth one is to find the research gap from the literature review. It is related to your previous question also. What you should do here at the fourth step. Now you have formulated a tentative problem. At the fourth step, you can find whether it has been already done by previous researchers. That is why you do this literature review, right? For example, you can do it selecting the last 5 years. All the research articles within the last 5 years can be searched, right? So then build up the argument for your research. Suppose that is your problem is located in the research gap, so you can continue the research. And suppose that problem has been done by another researcher, then what can you do? Then you have to reshape the problem. You don't need to completely drop the research problem. Instead, you can reshape the problem in a way that you can make a new research, right? So that is the way you can select problems. Then write the precise problem statement. You can write the problem statement then, right? Then write the aim and objectives. Aim means main objectives. And there are other steps also I can explain if these things are related to your questions. Right? Next question, please.
Okay, sir. No matter what we do, there should be some objectives and sub-objectives, as you said. So, sir, could
Yes.
you please explain about writing objectives and sub-objectives in a research proposal? Like, how can we write those things in a
Right.
research
I
proposal?
will explain it. Then this is another way to show you the structure of a research proposal. This is the title order of a research proposal. These are the subsections. First, you have to put a cover page for the research proposal, then title of the research you will see in a proposal. Then you will see the introduction. These things should be included in the introduction. Background for the research, identification of the problem, need for the study or the significance of the study, theoretical literature, empirical literature. Empirical means from the previous studies, what has been found. Then the research gap, right? Like this, you have to mention. In the literature review, as I mentioned, research gap is the most important part, right? Then from the research gap, this problem of your research should be originated from the research gap, right? Then research questions, objectives, hypothesis, methodology. It consists of three parts: theoretical basis or model, analytical methods, data collection methods, etc., etc. Then you have to give an explanation about the chapter organization of the study, then time frame, budget if necessary, then references and appendices. This is the structure of your research proposal. You said about the objectives, no?
Yes, sir.
Objectives, okay. Aim and objectives. Aim means main objective. Objectives means specific objectives. First, decide the aim of your research. That is mainly related to your dependent variable of your research. If you have already started your research, you can understand this. This is related to the aim is mainly related to the dependent variable of your research, right? First, decide the aim or main objective of your study, then decide the specific objectives, not more than 3, but you can go up to 5 also. From 3 to 3 is optimum, but you can go up to 5 also. When you write the aim, use a broad action verb like identify. This is a broad action. These are called action verbs, you know, right? These are very broad action verbs: identify, develop, examine, investigate. All these are very broad action verbs. So your aim or main objective should have very broad action verb, right? Identify, investigate, study, develop, examine, like that. For example, to identify the factors affecting the passenger satisfaction in the public bus service, as I said earlier in my example, right? And then you have to decide the specific objectives, right? Specific means some, there you should use some narrow action verbs like assess, classify, categorize, estimate, test, like that. There are so many action verbs, narrow action verbs also. For example, here I have given 3 specific objectives: to detect difference service qualities uh, retrievable from available literature, right? To detect different service qualities. Earlier also I mentioned the quality of driver, quality of conductor, quality of the service, quality of the equipment, quality of the bus, quality of the seat, quality of the road, like that. That is the way that we can assess the quality of the full service. Like that, to detect different service qualities retrievable from the available literature. From the previous studies, you will find different service qualities that you can apply for the bus service, right? That is one of the specific objectives. To assess the satisfaction of passengers for different service qualities. Then you have to assess the passenger satisfaction for different qualities. Driver quality, whether he is using the brake of the bus in a hard manner, right? Very hard way that you can't sit in the bus. And the quality of the conductor, whether his behavior is very rude, not polite, not kind, like that. To assess the satisfaction of passengers for different service qualities. To test the cause-effect relationship between passenger satisfaction and different service qualities. These are the 3 specific objectives. All these are narrow action verbs here, but this is a broad action verb. Now, suppose you will achieve all these specific objectives, then automatically you will achieve this one, this aim or the main objectives. So you can now understand these specific objectives have been formulated in order to achieve the main objective or the aim. So all these are parts of this objective. Right? Is it clear? Right. That's all with regard to aim and objectives. If you have more questions regarding that, I can explain.
Okay, so it's very clear. So let's
Okay.
move on to our next question. So we are facing a lot of problem with regard to literature review. So shall we talk about it more deeply? Like what is the literature review of the proposal and how do we need to prepare it? Is there any difference between literature review of the proposal and the literature review in the thesis?
Right. Okay. Here I have a slide for that. You can see it now. Literature review is a summary of previous studies according to the earlier researchers, but now we don't accept that idea. It's not a summary of all the previous research, but it's an argument for your current research, right? It provides an argument for your current research because you will find the research gap from the literature review. So your problem should be originated from the research gap so that it justify your research, that it's important to do that research because this problem is located in the research gap related to the area of study, right? That's why we need a literature review. This is the way we do it. This is, you have, suppose you have already selected a tentative topic. Tentative means, as I mentioned earlier, also temporary topic. Temporary topic. Then the step 1, search for literature. Literature means articles, research articles, some dissertations, and some other research reports also. Whatever available. Anyway, very good quality and reliable document. Should be very quality and reliable documents. Literature can be divided into two main parts. One part is theoretical literature. Theoretical literature means the relevant theories. What are the relevant theories, right? When considering your research, temporary research problem. Then empirical literature means previous studies which have been completed by other researchers, previous studies, right? Then go to the next step, read and review. Read and review, right? Journal articles, thesis, other research, as I mentioned already. Then go to the next step, identify the research gap. That also I have mentioned. Confirm the research problem. If your temporary problem is located within the research gap, you can confirm the problem as your problem of the study. After that also you can further review the research articles, previous studies, in order to find the main related variables of your research. Now the most important thing is to identify the variables of your research, mainly dependent variable and the independent variables, otherwise explanatory variables. So then they may have used some analytical methods, very important methods. So review the methods also, study about the methods, and if there are some other things special, you can read such things also, get it, write it down, okay? Then organize the literature as an argument to your research. You have to write another, this literature, you have now reviewed the literature. Now you have to write. That is the final step. You have to write down the literature review. That may be about 2 pages as directed by your supervisor, who has mentioned in the research guidebook in your university, right? You can get the idea. So organize the literature as an argument to your research. This is the way of writing a literature review, and you can now understand it, its different steps, right? Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Very clear. Let's now talk a bit about hypothesis writing. So, do we need to build up hypothesis in the research proposal? Is it
Uh,
compulsory?
okay. Actually, it is not compulsory, but if you do, I will mention like this. This is the hypothesis. There are different research paradigms. What do you mean by paradigm? Paradigm is a thinking pattern. Is a very big one. Paradigm is thinking pattern. These days we are thinking everything scientifically. So that is known as the scientific paradigm. What do you mean by scientific paradigm? Within that, if you are within that, all the conclusions are made based on evidence. What do you mean by evidence? Data. You will collect data, otherwise you will observe the world, you will collect data, you will gather data, and you will analyze data. After the analysis, you will see the cause-effect relationships between variables. So finally, you will make some conclusions after the analysis. That is the scientific paradigm. That is known as the positivist paradigm also, right? Positivist scientific paradigm. If your research is within that paradigm, then only you need a hypothesis. Otherwise, no need, right? If you are doing your research scientifically, using the scientific methodology as in other pure sciences, then you will have to formulate a hypothesis or few hypotheses for your research and include it in the research proposal also. But there is another research paradigm, interpretive research paradigm, right? That is that comes from the research philosophy, right? Interpretive research paradigm. Interpretive research paradigm, if you use that research paradigm, you will not formulate hypothesis. No need to formulate hypothesis. If you do it, that will be wrong. In interpretive research paradigm, you need not to formulate hypothesis. If you are if you are doing the research only within the positivist paradigm, then only you have to use hypothesis, right? And I can explain if you want some characteristics of hypothesis. Hypothesis is a tentative statement, right? It can be confirmed or rejected at the end of the research. You know, if you use the scientific method, that is the procedure. It can be deduced from a theory or theoretical model. It indicates a relationship between two or more variables, right? Written in two forms, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. To explain these things, we need some time. It will take some time. Within this time, duration, it is somewhat difficult to explain all these things. Now I can say a hypothesis is a relationship between two or more variables. If you use the scientific positivist method, then only you need to use hypothesis. Otherwise, if you use the interpretive paradigm, no need to use hypothesis, right? You have to read some more, right, for that.
Okay, sir. So, shall we move on the next question?
Okay.
So my next question is, what should we include in research methodology?
Okay. Methodology is the procedure that you are going to do your research that should be included in the research proposal, because you should know whether the research is actually practically possible. Beforehand, you should know it prior to enter the field. So if you write the research proposal and the methodology in that, you will understand, you will realize whether the research is practically possible, right? Otherwise, you will start this with, if you are not right in the methodology, you will start the research, and on the way you will find this is not possible, right? Then you will waste the time for that. Methodology means what are the different methods that you are going to use in your research, how those methods are combined to achieve the objectives of your research, right? That is the methodology. So these parts, components should be included in your methodology. 7 sections. There should be seven sections. All these sections in your methodology part, right? First one, philosophy of your research. As I mentioned earlier also, paradigm, research paradigm. What is the research paradigm? Whether it is positivist paradigm that uses scientific method, using hypothesis, etc. Or otherwise, it's a qualitative method, qualitative strategy that you use the interpretive paradigm. Then you will interpret data, right? Not in the way you can do in positivist paradigm. So you will have to read something about this one, research philosophy and the paradigms, right? Now it is not the time to explain that more than that. Just know there's a thing like this, research philosophy. There are research paradigms. So what is the paradigm that you are going to do your research? Second thing is very important. Second one also, inductive or deductive approach. The second section, the shape of the second section depends on the first section. If you have selected the positivist paradigm, then you have to select the deductive method. So positivist paradigm is the paradigm that uses deductive approach, right? But if you have selected the interpretive paradigm, you have to select the inductive approach. So you have to mention what is the approach you have chosen for your study, right? Third section, research strategy. Strategy means there are different strategies. For instance, experimental strategy. That strategy is used only in pure sciences. But in social sciences, in sociology, economics, and management subjects, you can't use the experimental approach within laboratories. But there's a similar method, randomized sampling technique. If you use the randomized sampling method, now it is somewhat difficult to explain about that here, but just to know, it is enough to know there's a strategy like this experimental method that is used in pure sciences, but in social sciences also there's an equal strategy called randomized sampling technique, right? But in social sciences and management, we use non-experimental observations, non-experimental, not in labs, not in laboratories, but in the field. We collect data, and such data is called observations, non-experimental observation. Go to the paddy fields or some other areas of research, and you will collect data from farmers about their fertilizer application and the organic farming and everything. These are the important current issues in the field of agriculture. So if you do research related to such topics, you can use this strategy, non-experimental observations. Mostly students do this kind of research. Otherwise, there are so many other strategies like case studies, right? Grounded theory approach, and some other strategies also you can find from textbooks also, right? Then you have to select the method. Method means mono or mixed. Mono means whether it is completely quantitative or completely qualitative. What do you mean by qualitative? Qualitative means you will analyze only words, sentences, words and sentences, right? There you will not find any numerals, right? If you analyze only numerals, statistics like that, then that will be a quantitative study. But normally you are using a mixed method, so you will combine these two, quantitative and qualitative. Even if in qualitative studies you will include some percentages and some other numerals, so that it will become a mixed method, right? Then the time data relationship, time and data relationship. There are two main types. Cross-sectional studies. Cross-sectional means at one point of time you will collect data from the field. But there's another one, longitudinal studies. Longitudinal means time series, a kind of time series, right? Either panel data or periodical data. From time to time will be taken and will compare it between times, different point of times, right? So that is the way you have to mention in your methodology, under your methodology, what is the relationship, time data relationship of your research, right? The other one, data and collection methods. You have to mention in the methodology whether you are using primary data or secondary data taken from other researchers or research institutions. Then the collection method, probability sampling or non-probability sampling, using probability sampling or non-probability sampling. So this is one of the very problematic area. Most of the students get it confused when they do sampling, right? I will explain it later, right? Then seventh section is analytical techniques. You have to mention in the methodology what techniques do you incorporate in your study, what analytical methods are used, how is it performed, using whether you use statistics or model estimations, otherwise only qualitative qualitative techniques. What is the way you are going to analyze, whether you use computer software, and these are the things that you should mention in the methodology. Again, if I say philosophy of, what is the philosophy of your research, at the beginning you have to mention. Then what is the research approach, whether it is inductive or deductive approach. Then you have to mention about the strategy of your research. Then you have to mention method, whether it is qualitative, quantitative or mixed method. Then what is the time data relationship, cross-sectional or longitudinal, data and collection methods, analytical techniques. So all these sections should be completed under your research methodology. Then it will become a good methodology section in your proposal. Right. That's all. If there's any more questions related to this part, you can ask me.
Okay, so there are many requests to ask about the sampling method of a research proposal. So could you please explain how to determine the sampling method of a research proposal?
Okay, but that depends on the type of your research. Suppose you have selected the positivist scientific method. You are going to gather data from the field and analyze data using statistics. Then you should go for a probability sampling method, right? What do you mean by probability sampling methods? Random. You have to select the sampling units randomly, right? If you are not selecting sampling units randomly, you can't use statistics. That will be a fundamental error of your research. After completing the dissertations by the research students, then when we examine the dissertations, we can identify they have done this wrong thing. But that's a fundamental mistake. So before that, you should know there's a problem like this. If you are collecting data randomly on very scientifically on random basis, then only you can use statistics, right? Otherwise you can't use. If you have used non-probability sampling, then you can't use statistics for such data, right? These are the probability sampling methods. Simple random sampling method. Then systematic random sampling method, right? Stratified random sampling method. cluster sampling method, multi-stage sampling method, right? You have to read about each of these things. So identify these sampling methods. If you use any of these sampling methods for collecting data, then you can use statistics. No problem, right? You can use statistics. But these are the non-probability sampling methods. These are the main methods. Convenience sampling, right? What do you mean by convenience sampling? That is as convenient to you. You will collect data as it is convenient to you from your own village, right? Otherwise, from your friend's village, you will go to the friend's house and you will collect the data in the surrounding areas, surrounding neighbors, right? That is convenient sampling, but you can't use statistics. Understand it. Purposive sampling, right? If you collect data based on your purpose of study, right? Purposive purposive sampling. If you are going to suppose collect data from your friends, that is also that some kind of, I can't say get examples at this point of time. Purposive sampling means that depends on the purpose. Purposely, that is the way we can explain. Purposely, you decide the sampling units. Purposely, not randomly. So for such a data set also, you can't use statistics. Understand it. Then quota sampling. Units of the population do not have an equal chance of being selected, right? Suppose you will check the passengers from different buses, but in different buses the number of passengers will be different, but you will get equal size of sample, 5 members from each bus. So that is quota sampling. That way is also not possible in scientific method, but in qualitative research, these sampling methods are important. Snowball sampling, you may have known about it. Snowball sampling, very popular. You know, snowballs starts in hill areas in the winter, in some western countries where there's a winter, very clear winter. Snowballs start very small at the beginning in top of hills and rolling down. When it rolls down, when such snowballs are rolling down, it becomes larger and larger on the way, right? Because of there are snows at the slope of the mountain. So on the way, it becomes larger and larger. Like that, as rolling snowballs, your sampling unit will start from one unit at the beginning. Suppose you will go to a village. At the beginning, you will meet Grama Niladhari of your village. That is the single unit that you first meet. Then you will collect data from him. then he will say that there are some other people that you can select data. So he will direct you to them. Then you will go to them and you will collect data from them also. After collecting data from them, they will also direct you to some other informants. So that way, on the way, the number of sampling units or respondents will become larger and larger. Finally, you will stop there when you come to a saturation point. These are the qualitative sampling techniques. Mainly we can see in research. But if you suppose you use one of these methods in collecting data, then you can't use statistics. Understand? If you use statistics for this kind of data, that will be a fundamental error in your research. That's all. Any
Okay,
more?
sir.
Yes.
My next question is, what is meant by model testing in a research?
Models testing is a very popular in economics and management also. Not much in sociology and some other areas, but in economics especially, model testing is very important, and in management also, right? What is a model? Model, it has three main components. A model, the model is a relationship between dependent variable and independent variables. That is a model. There are independent variables and there's one dependent variable, right? Affecting the all these independent variables are the factors affecting the dependent variable. One you can see dependent variable. The second one you can see independent variables. These are the two main things, visible things in a model, but there's one invisible thing also. Third one, what is that? One invisible thing. That is an assumption. Assumption. There can be assumptions, more than one assumption also. For example, in the demand theory, there's a ceteris paribus condition. On one side, on the left side, demand, quantity demanded. Then in the right side, independent variables. Independent variables, right? I mean, the factors affecting the quantity demanded. These two are visible, but there is another thing. There are three things of a model. First one is dependent variables. Second one is independent variables. Third one is ceteris paribus condition, or the assumption that we make as other things are constant. There's no effect from the rest of the world for the demand, right? But there are things, but we assume so. So that is a model. In a model, now you can understand there are three things. One thing is dependent variable. The other thing is independent variables, more than one, maybe one also. The third one is behavioral assumption. Behavioral assumption. So that will become a model. So you can test models in research. Practically, you can test the models. So related to all the independent variables and dependent variable, you can get observations. Observations means data. From the field, from the empirical world, from the real world, you can collect data and analyze the data. Then you can test the model using some techniques. Then you can come to conclusion. You will write down the conclusion that is why you are saying we are testing a model in my research. I am going to test a model. The demand theory also you can test, right? Any more questions?
No, sir, that's all from that question. My next question is, what is the difference between limitations and delimitations? Is it necessary to include limitations and delimitations?
Yes, if there are any, otherwise no need, but there are limitations. Limitations means actually that can naturally happen, some limitations, some drawbacks. Oh, while you are doing the research, you can't avoid some disturbances. So those are the limitations. But delimitation is another thing. That is, you purposely delimit. You purposely narrow down the research area. That is a kind of delimitation. Suppose you are going to identify the factors affecting the success of education, delimiting some students, O-level students, right? Otherwise, advanced level students, otherwise students of the arts stream, students of the management stream, students of the mathematics stream, physical science. That is the way you can delimit, right? Delimit. You purposely do it. But limitation is another thing that happens. It is good if you can avoid limitations. Take actions to avoid limitations. But you have to purposely delimit. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
What
Okay,
else?
sir. What should we include in the significance of the study related to the proposal?
Yes, significance of the study should be, if you do something, it should have a significance for the society or for the theoretical world. No, either for the society, it should be important. Suppose debt crisis, you will find a way to generate dollars. These days, very important will be a solution for the people to avoid very long queues to get petrol, diesel, and gas for everything. that is on the point of view of the society, that will be beneficial, especially in such research problems are known as applied research problems. Applied research problems will be important for the society. The other kind is academically important research problems. So it will such research will contribute to develop theories, to create theories for the theoretical development. So in the significance part, you have to mention that what is the way that you are going to contribute to the society or the theory, academic world, through your research, right? That is
Okay.
in brief. Yes.
What are the reference methods that we need to use when writing the proposal?
Yes, reference methods. There are few main methods of reference. Harvard method, Chicago method, like that, numerical method. And there are software also we can use to make the reference list. There are software also. But in most of universities in Sri Lanka, we use the Harvard method, or otherwise we can say APA, Method of the American Psychological Association, right? Harvard, that is known as the Harvard method. Let me see. This is APA style is recommended, right? APA. A list of references or bibliography should be included at the end of your research proposal, right? You will put page numbers also there in the reference section also, but after that in the appendices section, no need to put numbers, no need of numbering, but up to end of the reference section, you have to put numbering. Right? You have to learn about the APA style, American Psychological Association. That institute has developed this method. So in the world, everyone is using this, widely using this method.
Okay, sir. Could you tell us some of the common mistakes that students normally do when writing a research proposal? And can you recommend some skills that students need to improve in order to avoid those mistakes?
Yes, I will first come to this first slide again. This is the structure of your research proposal. So you will get this research proposal structure from others also, but you will not get these steps, working steps, right? So you will try to write the title of your research at the beginning, but not possible, right? First you have to do is to choose a tentative research problem from the area of your interest. Choose a topic of your interest, then write a tentative research problem. Then first you have to formulate the research problem before writing the title of your research. Otherwise, you will waste your time at the beginning. First thing is to do, write the research problem. Then what is the second thing? Second thing is to write the main objective or the aim of your study. Now enough. Now you can write the title of your study. That is very important. Keep in mind. First thing is to write the research problem. then you can write the title of your study. That is very important. The other thing, when you collect data, be careful. You are using statistics, but you have used purposive sampling or convenient sampling. That is fundamentally wrong. If you are using statistics, you have to use suppose measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion. So you are calculating things. Suppose in a class you will get the average height of students by just counting the first row of your students of your class. Then it will be wrong. There will be a fundamental error because at the front row, normally only girls are sitting there. And some very tall students are not sitting there, right? So if you get the average of these students in the front row, that will not represent the whole class. Therefore, you have to select students randomly 10 or 20 students like that from your class, from different places. You can select and get the height of their 20 students and get the average. Then that will represent the whole class. That's why I said, if you are using qualitative sampling methods, otherwise not qualitative means non-probability sampling methods, don't use statistics. But there are qualitative techniques to evaluate the results. So use that method. And in your proposal, you should have a cover page also like this. Can you see this? At the beginning, research proposal for the final year dissertation or whatever you are doing. This is the main topic: factors influencing the choice of housing location of middle income families, right? Middle income families. Here in this topic, you have narrowed down factors influencing the choice of housing, not of all, right? Of all families. Housing location, choice of housing location of middle income families. That is the way the researcher has narrowed it down, right? That way you have to narrow down the research area in your topic. And you can narrow down again in Sri Lanka, in one village in Sri Lanka, right? That way you can further narrow this down. Any more questions?
So there are also some questions listed undergraduate webinar, and let me go through those questions as well.
Okay.
The first one is how to write a review paper.
Review paper. Review paper means any that if you are reviewing any paper, that will be a review paper. But normally there are you know research papers, no? Then you are reviewing. If you are reviewing a research paper, what are you going to review? You are going to appraise or evaluate the things that the researcher has written in that research paper or the article, right? Those are the things that you are going to review. What they have written in the research article. First, title. You will see the topic of the research paper. then you can start reviewing from there, from the title, whether it is a suitable one, whether it's a current issue like that, whether it has done by previous researchers. You can start that way. Then the objectives, aim and objectives, methodology, what is the sampling method, whether you can justify, you can recommend it, like that, up to the conclusion, whether he has attained at reliable, very valuable conclusion, valuable results, whether it is important for the society or the theoretical world. That way, on different themes, you can prepare the, depending on the purpose, you can prepare a list of themes on what basis you are going to evaluate or review it. That way, you will evaluate the entire paper, research article, and give a conclusion also, like that. So that will become a review paper, right? That is the way of writing a review paper. And you can write reviews for books also, and some other documents also. And you can review policies also. Right? Normally, the popular thing is related to research articles, right?
Okay, sir. The next question is what to include in appendices.
Appendices. You know, when you are writing your thesis, right? You are presenting your ideas in your text, right? In the text, you can. It should be convenient for the reader to read it. It should have a good flow. But if you are putting very big tables and number of tables and graphs and different pictures while you are writing in the text, right? Then that will be a disturbance for the reader to read. So in the text, you will, in the body of the research report, you can include only the necessary, basically important part sections as tables, graphs, etc. But even after that, you will have to include some other tables also. If necessary, the reader can check it. So such tables should be attached in the, should be included in the appendices at the end of the thesis, right? Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So with that, we conclude our workshop, Esploro Phase 1. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge and experience with us through an interesting and worthwhile session. And we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for your contribution. With
Okay.
every beginning, an end is always connected to. So, this is the end of today's beginning, and I'm pretty sure you learned a lot from our first workshop on research proposal writing. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a workshop series, and our second workshop will be on data collection methods, and the third workshop will be on statistical softwares. Thank you so much for joining us today and see you all at our second workshop on data collection methods. And
Okay.
until that, stay safe and good night.
Okay. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.